For years, Mr. Victor Hale laughed at anything that had to do with God. Not the quiet kind of laugh, but the loud, mocking kind. The kind that made people uncomfortable. The kind that silenced rooms. Victor believed in one thing only: himself. He was young, wealthy, influential, and feared. A self-made businessman whose rise from nothing made him feel untouchable. He wore expensive suits, drove the best cars, and spoke with confidence sharp enough to cut through doubt. Prayer is for the weak, he often said. Religion is a crutch for people who failed at life. And people listened because Victor was successful. In interviews, he mocked pastors. At dinners, he dismissed believers as ignorant. Online, his words spread like fire, poisoning thousands with pride disguised as intelligence. When someone once asked him, "What if God is real?" Victor laughed so hard he spilled his drink. "If God exists," he said, "he should thank me for proving humans don't need him." That night, applause filled the room, but heaven was silent. Success continued until it didn't. One morning, Victor woke up with a sharp pain in his chest. He ignored it, blaming stress. A few days later, his left hand began to shake. Then came the dizziness, the sleepless nights, the unexplained weakness. Doctors ran tests. The results came back like a hammer to the soul. A rare neurological condition, aggressive, degenerative, no guaranteed cure. Victor laughed when he heard it. "This is nonsense," he said. "Fix it. I have money." The doctor looked at him with pity. "Money can slow it," he replied, "but it cannot promise a miracle." Victor walked out furious. For the first time in his life, money had limits. Weeks passed. His condition worsened. His hands shook uncontrollably. His speech slurred. The once powerful man struggled to button his own shirt. The board of his company voted him out temporarily. Friends stopped calling. Business partners vanished. The crowds disappeared. At night, alone in his massive mansion, silence became his loudest enemy. One evening, his elderly housekeeper, Mrs. Ruth, gently placed a bowl of soup beside him. "You should pray," she said softly. Victor scoffed. "Pray to who?" he asked bitterly. "Your invisible God?" Mrs. Ruth didn't argue. She simply said, "He hears even the proud when they finally whisper." Victor snapped. "I don't need prayers, I need science." But when she left, something unsettled him. That night, the pain came back stronger. His body betrayed him. He fell from his bed and lay helpless on the floor, unable to stand. For hours. No applause, no wealth, no power, just a broken man and the sound of his own breathing. For the first time, Victor was afraid. Days later, alone and exhausted, Victor stared at his reflection. The confident man was gone. In his place was someone unrecognizable, thin, weak, trembling. His phone buzzed. A notification from social media. An old clip resurfaced, Victor mocking God. Thousands of comments flooded in, some laughing, some angry, others cruel. "Karma, where is your confidence now? Maybe pray." Victor threw the phone away and buried his face in his hands. Tears came, not dramatic tears, quiet ones, the kind that pride cannot stop. And then something happened. In the quiet of his room, broken and desperate, Victor whispered words he never thought he would say. "God, if you are real," his voice cracked. "I don't know how to pray. I don't even know if you will listen, but I'm tired, I'm scared, and I can't fix this." Silence filled the room, but this time it felt different. Nothing dramatic happened that night. No lightning, no sudden healing, but Victor slept peacefully for the first time in months. The next day, something small changed. The shaking lessened slightly. The pain eased just a bit. Doctors called it temporary improvement. Victor called it hope. For the first time, he didn't mock prayer. He tried again and again. Each prayer wasn't perfect, but it was honest.
Weeks passed, his condition stabilized, then slowly improved. Doctors were confused. This shouldn't be happening, one said quietly. Victor knew better. He wasn't healed overnight, but he was being changed. Months later, Victor walked into a small church, not as a critic, not as a mocker, but as a man who had fallen and been lifted. He didn't sit in the front, he didn't speak, he just listened. Tears streamed down his face as the words reached places pride once occupied. He returned again and again, and when people recognized him, they were shocked not by his presence, but by his humility. The man who once mocked God now bowed his head. Eventually, Victor spoke publicly again, but this time his message was different. I laughed at faith. I trusted myself above all things, and when everything failed me, God didn't. He didn't claim perfection. He didn't claim to have all answers, but he had one truth. Pride nearly destroyed him. Humility saved him. Victor's healing wasn't just physical, it was spiritual. He used his wealth to help others. He supported hospitals. He funded shelters. And every time someone asked why he changed, he simply said, I mocked God until I needed a miracle. Pride can make us feel powerful, but it also blinds us. Mockery may impress crowds, but it silences wisdom. And sometimes, life allows us to fall not to destroy us, but to teach us that we are not in control. When everything fails, money, status, strength, faith may be the only thing left standing. Never mock what you may one day need. If this story touched your heart or made you reflect on life, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Your support helps us continue sharing powerful stories that inspire, teach, and transform lives. Thank you for watching, and remember, every story has a lesson if we are humble enough to listen.